I have this one here that says, what Diablo 4 Season 6 is losing players fast, from Rhykker. And I want to see what he has to say. In my opinion, this question has a simple answer. Because they already did everything they had to do. Spiritborn is broken. They cleared Pit 150 with the Spiritborn. They kill all the bosses. There is nothing else to do. And they quit. It is not because the game is bad. It is not because, I don't know, it is not fun. It is because they had fun, but they already cleared everything. And they don't have anything else to do. And they move on. That is the answer to this question. But I want to see what he has to say. So let's check it out.
All right, starting with the Diablo 4 news, we're getting a campfire chat next Tuesday for the mid-season update. It'll start at 11 a.m. Pacific. They'll go through class balance changes, content updates, and more, with the usual Q&A at the end. Now, what are you folks hoping to hear during the campfire chat? Because as for me, I'm hoping to see some love given to the classes that are not named Spiritborn. You know, give a little shake up.
Exactly, same. What am I hoping to see in the chat tomorrow? It is tomorrow, right? What I'm hoping to see is that thing that he said, that other classes get buffed. Give me a buff to the drop rate of Ancestral's greater affixes. Give me a fix for the no max aspects thing that we are experiencing, where a max aspect is rated by a lot than a mythic unique. Those are the quick fixes that I want for a mid-season update. Of course, the whole game needs more fixes, but for a mid-season update, I think this would be enough. Give me balance for the classes that are underpowered. Give me more greater affixes things, and give me max aspects. I believe that for a mid-season update, that would be awesome.
Halloween event came and went. We spoke at length about it in last week.
Halloween event. Nobody even knew that there was a Halloween event, brother. That shit didn't exist. It was stupid.
Week's video. And I polled you folks earlier this week asking what you thought of the event. 46% of you said it's better than nothing. 36% said you'd rather get nothing.
Nah, brother. If you can get something instead of nothing, you get something. But that doesn't mean that that something is good, right? I prefer, it's better than nothing. For sure, it's better than nothing.
15% said you didn't like the event, and 4% said you liked the event.
But from the Blizzard's perspective, nothing will be better. Because if they did nothing, nobody would think, oh, we got a bullshit event. But since they did an event and the event sucked, people said, oh, they don't know how to do events, and events are stupid, and the Halloween event sucks. But if they didn't do an event, nobody would care. Nobody would say, oh, we need a Halloween event. Nobody cares, brother. Nobody cares. I wouldn't even think about that shit.
Not exactly great numbers all around. And I think for a lot of people, it just didn't really feel like an event was even taking place. One could easily go the entire event.
Only 4% liking the event is bad. Yeah, brother, the event was stupid. I don't know if you know what the event was like. When you click a shrine, you have an opportunity to spawn a butcher or something like that. The same butcher that you always get. And you kill the dude and he drops whatever. It doesn't drop anything special or unique to the event. There was no event. Basically, there was no event. Let's be honest in here.
And without doing a nightmare dungeon and running into any of the shrines, if you had somehow accidentally skipped the splash screen that you get when you load in during the event and just went straight into the game, you may literally have not even noticed that there was an event going on at all. Now, if we compare this to the Diablo Immortal Halloween event, which ran from October 9th to November 6th, we see that the town hub in Diablo Immortal was decked.
Look at that, how the town was, that is Diablo Immortal, the mobile game that is bullshit, that is pay to win fucking shit. And in Diablo 4, they didn't change the towns like for the Halloween shit, which by the way, I like it. I don't like when they change the towns for the Halloween or Christmas or whatever. But I understand why people like it and they do stuff and whatever. Okay, I am fine with that. I personally don't like it, but if people like it, let people enjoy it. But they didn't even put in the effort to do that shit.
Created in pumpkins and whatnot. Very festive, feels like something is going on, the world is different. Then they brought back a recurring event called Survivor's Bane. It's something they've brought in a couple of times. It's this mini game with roguelike gameplay, similar to Vampire Survivors, where you have to defend against endlessly spawning enemies while collecting experience orbs to earn new skills. And while they didn't make this event for Halloween, they did give it a Halloween twist with like themed monsters. Then they also brought back an event called Howler Hunt, which is basically Immortal's spin on Among Us. Both of these are full-on like mini games built into Diablo Immortal. And
bro, Diablo Immortal with more content than actual Diablo 4 world. And this is insane, dude. And they have even more classes. They invented a new class like the vampire dude for the Diablo Immortal, and we are no, I can't believe this. Diablo Immortal team is slaying it, brother. You could say that it is because they are getting a lot of money from all the pay to win. I don't know.
Playing either of these mini games earns you a currency that you can use to then buy some headless cosmetics. Then outside of those, there's also other cosmetics that you can get via a limited time Phantom Market, which is basically cosmetics via loot boxes, but everyone does get one free loot box with a random cosmetic in it. After that, yeah, you gotta spend money. Then there's also some special event cosmetics that you can unlock that you can only use during the Halloween event every year. So kind of like Halloween costumes. Now, I don't know that I love the idea of cosmetics you get that you can only wear during a month, but some of these basically make...
Yeah, I don't like that idea either. I can only wear this thing for a month. That is stupid. Give me a second because we are fighting here for the chest, dude. Give me a second in here because we are fighting here for the fucking chest. Bro, how does a mobile game give better content than a full price triple game? That is what I'm asking. It is so stupid. Some people will say that it is because the mobile game gets a lot of money because of all the pay to win. But I don't know. It is stupid, brother. Diablo 4 should have better stuff.
You look like monsters, like enemies. So I guess I get it. And whether you like it or not, again, I'm not sure how I land on these. I can only wear these cosmetics 1 month out of the year. The fact that they have it, and you run around and now you're seeing people in these, what are Halloween costumes, just during the Halloween event, it does overall enhance the feeling that, hey, we have an event going on right now. It's a special time of the year. And I know what everyone says about Diablo Immortal, mobile game, monetization.
Exactly.
Monetization aside, that team cooks. The Vampire Survivor and Among Us game modes, hell, it'd be cool to see something like that. Some kind of crazy ideas like that.
I agree completely with Rhykker in here.
Steam numbers. Again, I believe, and a lot of people agree, this is the most fun that Diablo 4 has ever been.
I agree
but it's
with
looking
this
like
too.
Season 6 actually has worse retention than Season 5. And we're talking both on a relative and an absolute scale. If you look at the Steam charts, and yes, we have to acknowledge that the Steam population represents a small fraction of the overall Diablo 4 player base, so it could be theoretically that the Steam player numbers and their concurrent ebbs and flows.
Nah, what you see on Steam, yes, it is a smaller size, but it is the graph. It should be really close to the actual graph in Battle.net, brother. That the one that we can see and only Blizzard sees, right? Like, yes, there are more players, but the trajectory of the graph should be really similar. I mean, before would have more people spending money on it if it get good content. Yeah, exactly. There is a lot of people spending money as it is. Imagine if it was better.
Do not represent the player base at large, but these are the only numbers we can work with. And again, if we're looking at the Steam charts, we see that 4 weeks into Season 6, we're down to only 32% of the peak concurrent players that we saw at launch. Now, compare that to Season 5, where 4 weeks in, we still had 76% of people playing, which that 76 is actually an incredibly impressive number. If you look at the competition, maybe we're looking at like 50.
Season 5 was really good. I told you guys that I liked Season 5 a lot.
About a month in, 76 is staggeringly good. And, 30 some odd, it's not great, but it's not abysmal, especially when you consider the fact that it's pretty normal to see a bigger drop-off of players when you release either a new game or an expansion. A lot of people are just coming here to play the story, and then they're going to leave. and they're going to be content with it.
That is true. I didn't think about that, but that is also true. A lot of people just wanted to play the story, they completed it, and they went out. They don't care about endgame and all of that.
Just a lot of people are story players. They're not here to keep playing and grinding all the way to, Paragon 300. And we saw the peak player numbers on Steam for Season 6 hit 56,000 compared to only 34,000 for Season 5. That's an increase of about 56%. However, 4 weeks into Season 5, we were down to 26,000 peak concurrent players on Steam. 4 weeks into Season 6, we're down to 18,000. So, however you look at it, people are definitely dropping off faster this season. And again, the question is, why? The progression overhaul is an improvement to the game. The new systems are great. The Spiritborn is super fun. So why are people leaving sooner? Well, I have a few guesses. First off, I think a lot of people have been enjoying the state of the game so much that they're playing more than they ever have before, and therefore they're burning out sooner. So,
bro, this is cope. You are coping in this one, my dude. I am not saying this isn't happening. This happens for some people, for sure. This has happened for a couple of people. But it is not the reason why the overall structure is going like this. I don't think this is the vast majority of players that have quit so far. Like, 50% of the players burned out. The game is so good that 50% of players burn the content out fast. Nah. That is not the reason, brother. For some people it might be, but not for the big majority of the people. This is not the reason this is happening. This is a cope, a really big cope. A small number of overall players will stick with any game to the very end game content. Yes, that is true. People have lives to live, brother. That is the truth.
Let's say, for argument's sake, that a season has about 200 hours of fun. Just a random number. You can spread those 200 hours over the course of 3 months, or you can burn through them in...
This is true, by the way. That is why I say that there is a couple of people that this has happened to. Because what he's saying is true. You can burn out the content really quickly if you just not like the game. And I said earlier that happened with people playing Spiritborn, and now they have nothing else to do. But we are like 1 month after the game, right? And it is because of the balance state of the Spiritborn or whatever. But I don't think that the vast majority of players just quit because they play too much the game. Like, the game is so good that they play too much and they are burned out. That is coping. But it is true that, how I said, like, there is a weird overlapping here. Because it is also true that they have nothing else to do because they already did everything. But it is because we reached that point faster than before because the Spiritborn is broken. That is what I think is happening, in my opinion.
4 weeks. I know I've been putting in more hours than ever, and I'm kind of feeling burnt out now. Now, a second big factor, though, I think is just...
And that is true for me, too. I played 4 classes, cleared over P90 with all of them. I kind of did everything. I can't keep progressing my character because I don't get great graphics and max access or whatever. So I am also getting... I got to the burnt out point. Maybe with the mid-season updates I can come back if they fix some cool stuff. But I have played the game a lot, right?
The incredible state of unbalance that these Spiritborn bugs are causing.
He's saying it.
I play multiple classes per season. When I get bored on one character, I start up another character, and that's how I keep things fresh. And this gives me, every character gives me at least another week of fun. But with the Spiritborn being 1,000,000 times more powerful than other classes, I just can't bring myself to play the other classes.
Brother, I said this in my other video. I said exactly this. He's completely right in here because he agrees with me.
The power disparity is just too great. And I know some of you guys can do it.
I could play 4 classes because I didn't play an Spiritborn. So I didn't give a fuck and I could change between them and everything was alright. But people that played an Spiritborn and felt OP, then they go to another class and they think that the class sucks. Oh, because compared to the Spiritborn, it actually sucks.
Play off-meta builds. You can make your own build, you can run an F tier build and have fun, and that's great. I'm happy for you, I really am. But for myself and a lot of other people, we just can't force ourselves to feel a certain way. We just can't get there. And I think a third factor is because of how broken the Spiritborn is. It's just so powerful that we've just been blasting through the game faster than we otherwise would have. We farmed up all of our
Exactly.
gear,
That is what I said earlier too. So we agree. Outside from the pure cog first one, we agree on everything else.
Our Paragon much faster. We've conquered all challenges faster. We've deleted any difficulty from the game much faster. And you just reach a point where you feel, well, what's left to do? You become satisfied with your current...
You already completed your goals. You did everything you wanted to do. You are done with the game. And that isn't bad. You just completed the game and you move on, like in a single player game too.
State of power. Sure, you can go on far more Paragon, but you don't have to, or you don't want to put in the time to. Sure, you can try to farm for perfect gear, but your current gear is good enough because it already obliterates everything in the game. So you just reach a point where you're okay with moving on. That's why I'm really hoping for a shakeup with the mid-season patch. I'm hoping it's going to revitalize the season. Now, outside of that, I think for a lot of people, the gear chase right now as well is too difficult.
The gear chase right now is stupid. That is the truth. Like not getting enough greater affixes in your gear, the max aspect bullshit that they are greater than a mythic unique, that is stupid. And like the end game, I said this in my other video too, that like grinding to get a 1% damage upgrade to maybe try to complete one pit higher because skill doesn't matter and gear is all that matters. It is not fun. You get to that point and you say fuck this. The getting to that point was fun, but after you get to that point you don't want to keep going. Yo, my dude, when you want to play AC Classic with the boys? Brother, I suck at AC Classic and I kind of find it boring. If I would play it with a lot of people, I would do it. But to play it by myself, I tried to do it when the hardcore server came out, but I couldn't do it. Drop rates can influence how much people want to play. If you grind for 3 days and get no grades, why bother playing more when it's probably going to be the same? I agree completely. Like you don't feel like you are progressing your character anymore. You are stuck. This is not fun. I am going to do something else. And again, getting there was fun, but you already accomplished what you wanted to accomplish and you are out.
I think farming for good greater affix items is a grind that a lot of players are tapping out of. Now,
exactly.
Could be that the drop
he said the great
are
graphics
a
thing.
bit too low currently. Either that, or we need more protections for multiple greater affix items rolling well. By the same token, though, I do think it's important for the game to not become too easy, and it's just an incredibly difficult balancing game that the devs have.
You do that by increasing the skill needed. Not everything has to be get good gear beat end game. Like in WoW you need gear, but you also need a skill. That is how you balance this bullshit. Not everything has to revolve around gear. I know that ARPGs are more about gear than an MMO like WoW, but you can balance it out. Like right now, a skill is 0% and gear is 100%. Make it 80% and 20%. And then you have more skill expression and stuff to do, and you don't have to care so much about this gearing stuff. Which, by the way, the whole gearing system in Diablo 4 sucks, but that is another topic. I don't like that gear determines your build in terms of uniques and affixes, and aspects, sorry. Like, I think that systems like PoE or Last Epoch 1 that modify your stuff without making your build are miles better. Because the aspects just make it so that Blizzard makes the build. You don't make the build. You choose the build. But Blizzard makes the build with the aspects and you choose the build. Oh, I am going to play the Hurricane Druid. But the Hurricane Druid was created in the lab by Blizzard. You just are choosing to play that build. It is different than creating your build like you can do in PoE.
To play. If it's too easy to power up, then, well, we're all done with the game in a week. Which means that we had 1 week of fun, but then we have 3 months of nothing. But then if it's too hard to gear up, then people just burn out, stop having fun, and they give up at some point. And the devs have to
This is true too. It is not an easy job, by the way. I am not saying, oh, you make it sound easy. What Rhykker is saying here is true. It is not an easy job. But spice it up, try different stuff. Let's see what happens. What I am saying is to make it fun, to try to have an skill expression, and people will stick around more. Make it so that you have a deterministic way of getting your items that you are looking for, and people will grind for it. Of course, it will happen 100%.
Find just the...
If the issue is bosses dying too fast, then increase their health or resistances so they aren't just one shot, or lower the overall damage output so that the mechanics can actually happen. Exactly, and make the mechanics actually cool, and telegraph them and all of that, because bosses like Duriel, you don't know what the fuck is going on in that fight. That is why you want to one shot it, because the fight is stupid. So yes, but I agree completely with you there.
Right difficulty to keep you chasing long enough to maximize your fun. But the biggest problem is everyone has a different threshold here. And so the devs have to figure out how to set the rates that maximize the fun for the greatest amount of people. And that means that things will be too hard for some players all the way on one end of the spectrum.
It is a balancing act.
They're going to give up. And that means it'll also be too easy for players on the other end of the spectrum who are going to farm up everything really quickly and then move on to other games. But finding the precise balance point for your player base, that's really hard. And I think they're still going to be trying to dial it in for a while. So that's obviously some of the most important stuff that the devs have to consider and think about and work on right now. But super easy, fast, small thing. Little quality of life suggestion. When we're re-rolling an affix, can we have the default selection be no change? What?
I agree with this, by the way. Rhykker is on point in here, by the way, with a lot of stuff he's saying. And this is true. Having to select no change every single time I re-roll an affix is annoying. This is not game breaking, this is not ruining the game, but it is annoying, and it will be a cool quality of life improvement. That's something D3 tried to do with its seasonal effects that will give different bonuses, like everyone having a few items from sets to give bonuses and whatnot. Okay, I don't know much about D3, but I understand what you are saying. To try to spice up gear and itemization. And yes, we have to spice that shit up, because gearing and itemization in D4 is like, even WoW itemization, which is also stupid, is more in depth than D4's.
Whatever the original intent of the design, the way we use enchanting in practice is not to roll once and go, ooh yeah, I like that, I'll stick with that. You know, we re-roll multiple times, we're looking for a specific affix, and we're clicking no change, no change, no change,
exactly.
No change, no change. Which on a mouse isn't the end of the world, but on controller it's even worse, so...
Oh, I hadn't think about controller, brother. For me, it is annoying on mouse. I can't imagine how it must be in controller, bro. Yeah. You just don't do it at that point.
Would just be a nice little UX change to default the selection to no change. In other news, it looks like Blizzard has a remaster of Warcraft 2.
Oh, so he's over with D4 in there. The remaster of Warcraft 2 is really cool, and I want to play it, but I wanted to see just the D4 part. So I agree with everything Rhykker said in here. The only thing that I think it is that thinking that people... it is a cope to think that the big number went down because people had too much fun and they quit because of that. They burned through the game, but it is because the Spiritborn is OP and Blizzard didn't count on that being the case, and the Spiritborn burned through the content much faster than they anticipated. That did happen, and he did make this point after that. So I agree with Rhykker in here. This was a great video, brother. I don't think what he's trying to say, and I agree, is that the drop-off in players is not an indication of the game sucking right now. And the game being better before. And I agree, it is not an indication of that, because I do think the game is better than ever. Even if it still needs a lot of improvements, if I still think that a lot of things can be improved, and the endgame needs some love and itemization and the skill tree and whatever. if you think about it in the context of D4 itself, it is in the best state D4 has ever been. Like, well, if you compare to other cooler games, yeah, you will find more flaws. But for D4 itself, it is the best it has ever been. So I don't think the drop-off is an indication of the game being bad itself. I think it is more of an indication of the Spiritborn just burning through the content fast. People already did everything they had to do, and they are out to do other stuff until next season. And that is not bad. That is just how RPG works. The bad thing was that Blizzard just tuned the game badly, and they didn't think people were going to burn through the content this fast with the Spiritborn. That is what I think happening here.